All right, guys, we are live. It's episode 291, Other Shooters Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Jennifer Seymour's joining me. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, everybody.
Greg Cannon's in the house.
Hey, everyone.
What's going on, Greg? And rookie move. I need to put my phone on silent. Already starting off on a bad note. Yeah. Guest and star of the hour. He's a friend of mine, personal friend. Jason Kelly's in the house. What's going on, buddy?
All right, guys.
It's good, man. Good to have you on here. This is probably overdue. I'm going to start bringing on a lot more people. Everyone's like, why don't you have me on now? You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, we'll get you on here. Got show sponsors here, the folks over at GSL Technologies. All right. They got all your suppressor needs over there. This dude makes a suppressor for everything. All right. So if you're, obviously this is always hearsay. I hear 3 to 6 months on stamp approvals now for suppressor stuff, but who knows with the COVID going around, who's open. And if everybody are still looking at those documents.
Doubt if the ATF is working from home.
All right. So who knows now, but I heard 3 to 6 months and now it's time to get one. Well, it's actually not the time. You should have had one of those things, especially with the zombies crawling around now. So there we go. If you want to get your questions in live throughout the show, watching on the Shooters Mindset Facebook page, just go ahead and comment in the live feed. We'll grab those, get them over to Jason throughout the show. TheShootersMindset.com, where you can follow all the Shooters Mindset update shows, bios, blogs, all there at TheShootersMindset.com. All right, for those who are unfamiliar with you, Jason, tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you got involved in fighting and the shooting industry.
Fighting in the shooting industry. All right. Well, I was always a wrestler. You know, I'm from Florida as well, and always a wrestler. And ended up, I'm the type of guy that'll drive a darn car till the wheels fall off. Don't know how to not do the things that I like. Wrestled at a high level. Ended up going to college and wrestling. Unfortunately, when I went to college, that's all I wanted to do was wrestle. I wasn't good at the going to class part. I was trying to make the Olympic team. Ended up falling short of those goals. Ended up building others to get to higher goals than I ever got. Ended up, I'd probably say in the late 90s, ended up meeting a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys at a wrestling practice at Douglas High School, and where that big Marjorie Stoneman Douglas deal went down. So, but met a bunch of guys at a wrestling club. And the funny thing was nobody really knew what jiu-jitsu was back then. So it was a bunch of dudes on their back with legs wrapped around each other. I'm like, yo, what are you guys doing? And they're like, coach, it's jiu-jitsu. And I was like, man, it's not that kind of party. And they're like, no, coach, you have to teach us how to do takedowns. And I was like, all right, cool. And it was some big names back in the time. It was dude Hermes Franco, Wild Boys, Minotaur Nogueira. And it was funny because they were like, coach, we wrestle like this. I was like, oh man, I got to teach you guys how to wrestle. But my true value didn't come from teaching them how to wrestle. It came with teaching them how to go from takedowns to the ground, how to control someone and dictate action from their feet to the ground, because they say life and death is in the gaps. It's in between what you don't know. So I helped them come up with a seamless process of how I did things. And it led to me now I'd work all day. I had a tiny piece of a big medical equipment company that I'd work all day and I'd wrestle afterwards. And then I found all these Brazilian guys that was like a whole nother demographic of people that I could train afterwards. So I was like, oh man, I could fill a couple more hours a day training. So I'd bounce around from all these little places. And back in the day, it wasn't as popular as it is now. They'd have a bunch of those little jigsaw puzzle mats where they'd have like 30 Brazilians training on like a 10 by 10 square puzzle mat. And it became one of the largest fight teams in the world. You know, I'd bounce around a couple places. I found one place that they invited me to. It was Boca Black Belt, and it was out in Boca. It was on Palmetto Park Road and US 1. And that became the first American top team. From there, I bounced around to a couple other guys, and then those guys that I worked with became jiu-jitsu world champs. I got to put my hands on a lot of different people, helping them problem solve different body type styles, doing things and components that I did. Like I was able to mesh a lot of things together for males, females, From that, ended up teaching at all the different schools that were opening up, all mainly through South Florida. Was a lot of the fighters were opening their own schools to have their own business and, kind of grow as they were coming here from Brazil. And it just became like, there were guys I was training that just became legends. It was perfect, like right place, right time, right dude. And South Florida's a hotbed for all the fighting stuff. So it's funny because right around the same time I started working with all the fighters, I met a bunch of law enforcement guys at one of the schools. It was my buddy Pablo Popovich's gym. He was like, this guy was like a little brother to me that was like, shoot, when we linked up, I found someone as crazy about training as I was. And shoot, we were trained 6-7 hours a day, 5-6-7 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. And anyways, one of his students was like, hey, Jason, we run the training unit at this one police department. Do you want to come out and work with us every morning, or a couple mornings a week? I was like, heck yeah, no problem. So I was a dummy at the time. I was just like fight. I just kept giving them all this fighting stuff. But one day they're like, hey, we have to fight with all this gear on and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, here, let me slap on some of this gear. And I was like, holy cow. And I didn't shoot back then or anything. This must have been, shoot, this was probably 15 years ago. And they were like, hey, we got to fight with all this gear on. And I was like, damn, I don't know anything about gear. And I didn't shoot. So basically, you could take an engine out of one car, you could put it in another car, it'll work, but only if you make all the right connections. Well, I didn't know what all those connections were. So shoot, it's been a long road of working with crews, problem solving, being proficient at all their environments. They initially got me into shooting, and it was one of the Broward departments out west. A couple guys got me into shooting. I'm an athlete, so I don't know how to kind of do anything. And it's, let's, at first it was like, hey, let's go shoot some pistols and rifles. So we're shooting pistols and select fire ARs. I was like, it's pretty cool. And they were like, hey, you should get your own something. And I was like, why? I'll just shoot your guys' stuff. Eventually I got a rifle. When I got my rifle, Pembroke Gun Range was the first place I went to shoot it. Bought my first rifle at Lou's. Ended up just, how do I shoot matches? How do I do this? How do I do that? So ended up working with a lot of different crews in a lot of different aspects. And I didn't realize, like, again, how much of a dummy I was. I was just always trying to give my stuff, but I didn't really know what everyone else was doing until I started putting time into what everyone else was doing. That's what started making me more valuable to work with crews. So I started shooting matches. I started shooting Richard Haddad's match. I met him at that same range with one of the federal agencies I was doing a bunch of stuff with. And so we're shooting his steel match. And then I met Todd out there. So Todd, who you had on last week, Todd Lewis. Shoot, man, Todd took me under his shooting match wing. We would carpool together to Frostproof, to shoot Port Malabar, to Clewiston. We'd all link up at a stop on the turnpike and bounce from match to match. With John Rodriguez, Joe Farewell was out with us. And it's awesome seeing how far all the guys who never stopped shooting matches have come along. I was just messaged Joe because he had 2 of his sponsored Gucci'd out 2011s in a picture today. So anyways, I was big again, I don't know how to kind of do anything. So I'd shoot a practice match on Thursday, a match locally on a Sunday or a Saturday, and then go with Todd somewhere on another day. So there's weeks I'd shoot 3 matches a week. And, I'm the guy that dry fires. I'm the guy that works on all these different skill sets. So being a dude that does the fighting stuff and being a dude that does the shooting stuff made me way more valuable to all the audiences I work with. I had another buddy, Rob Soto, got me into, he brought me on board to help teach TCCC courses, all medical courses, tactical combat casualty care stuff. And his whole thing was, hey, look, we need someone to come in and teach how to control people. And I was like, all right, well, shoot, well, what's the rest of the course? It was tactics. The whole undertone is medicine. And I was having to control people, whether they're a good guy or a bad guy. And I was like, well, heck, I don't want to just teach my part. I want to teach people how to do my stuff based on their environment. So I became real proficient at what everyone else was doing. So I took that approach to everything that I do. Made me way more valuable, because I definitely realized you don't know what you don't know, whether it's, like rappelling down buildings, PSD stuff, motorcades, arrivals, departures, tactics. So gear, shoot, like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely made me a better asset to everyone I work with. So now I teach all over the country. I teach law enforcement agencies, military crews, how to do high level fighting just in a real short period of time. Because if I would work with fighters like train all day long every day. Like I would teach it all. Like shoot, like when HET was going off, there'd be like I teach at 4 or 5 different American top teams, have people go to my building and train, and then do private lessons on top of private lessons. The things that I do all the time. So, and those athletes would work all the time. But when I work with, say, a law enforcement agency or a SWAT team or military crew, whether it's conventional unit or ninja crew, they only have like this much time to learn like how to be proficient at a skill set. So I work with fighters. I work with them all the time. Like whether they won or lost, it um it didn't really matter. It's still just a hobby. But when I work with crews that are doing it for work, whether they make a little mistake, could be their last mistake. So I really took to building crews to have a real impactful message in a short period of time, and being able to how to do just enough fighting stuff with a shooter's mindset.
Right. Boom. So the
Mindset.
fighting, yeah,
Thanks,
there you
Matt.
go. Nice plug in. So the fighting stuff led you into the shooting stuff, and now your class is focused on both of those things, right? Fighting and
Yeah,
shooting.
you know what I realized? I realized that fighting is really hard because you have to deal with people that aren't familiar with something. Like nobody wants to do something they're not good at. And you'll hear every excuse. I don't want to sweat on people. I don't want people to find out that I suck. Like you'll hear everything. So I find that, all right, if I go to a crew, right, military law enforcement crew, all right, well, great, we'll have you come out. We'll just offer it to all our guys. Well, you tell 100 guys, oh, we got this fighting guy come out. No matter who the fighting guy is, you tell 100 people, probably like 5 dudes will show up. All right, you tell that same crew, hey, look, we're going to bring out a couple pallets of ammo. We're going to have a couple different weapon systems for you guys to mess around with. We're going to have a couple of instructors out. You tell like 100 dudes, probably like 150 dudes will show up. So
Free ammo, man.
what's that?
Free ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'll use the fighting to trick people into learning use shooting to trick guys into learning the fighting stuff, because you don't have to know a lot. You have to have a handful of things that you can be really proficient at. And if you're integrating the two of them, like you better understand like high level shooting, which is just super simple things, right? It's like like that whole, like another place I teach at, the range complex in North Carolina. It's brilliance in the basics. Like high level fighting is a bunch of simple, effective things, principally based. Like you have to have all the basics hammered down. But when you have two skill sets, you got to be really proficient at both, and then be able to mesh them together. Again, they say life and death is in the gaps. It's in between what you don't know. Like you could be great at fighting and great at shooting, right? Or like when I'd work with all these fighters, they'd be great at grappling and not good at wrestling. So it's like that in between is where you get knocked out. It's an in between that, I would just get to my pistol. I would just do this. I would just do that. Well, hey man, you don't know what you don't know. And it's like, if you don't practice them together, like those odds suck for you. You have to be like pretty like odds based, have an odds based system.
There you go.
Be well-rounded.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that kind of leads us perfectly into number 2. How important is it for folks who carry field to know some form of fighting skill?
Just think, just because you want to do something doesn't mean it's the right opportunity, right? So it's like algebra. You can do it in any order you want, but if you do it out of its order of operations, you might not get your desired result. And if you can't do the fighting part, doesn't matter if you could keyhole shots or how fast you do, how fast you do all these other cool things. Shoot. Like, hey, if I wanted to introduce a tool, a life-altering, death-dealing device on someone because I made the conscious decision that, hey, man, this is time for this. I need to make sure that I have the advantage to be able to do it. I'd rather be able to do it where the bad guy doesn't even see I introduced it. I don't want the fight of their life. I want to have every unfair tactical advantage over my adversary possible. So how can I like, and then the fighting stuff, like, because I teach guys very wrestling based stuff, because that's my thing is up close and personal wrestling stuff. Because if you're in striking range, you're still kind of in projectile range. You can still shoot from there. So if you're up close and personal, controlling someone, dictating action, well, it'll help you identify when your right timing for things is at.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's a big reason that I conceal carry and I would never open carry. It's not that I'm, whatever, people have opinions. I don't want anybody to know I have it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that I probably can't wrestle with a 250-pound man and win. So I want it to be the shock and surprise is going to be my weapon. You know what I mean? Nobody would expect I'm the one that's going to pull a gun out and be able to actually take them out. So,
and a big thing too is having a clear, unobstructed draw stroke from adverse situations. You watch all these dudes two-handed, one hand clearing a cover garment, other hand getting a good purchase on their pistol, linking up. Well, what if the other hand's tied up? Like, I might have to clear my cover garment with one hand, get a good purchase on it. Well, what's all right, what's my fourth firearm safety rule, right? Knowing my target's foreground and its background. If you're not good at tussling with someone and good at tussling with someone on your feet, like, you get tangled up. I see people flipping and flopping and flailing all around. And just because you want to shoot someone doesn't mean it's the right opportunity to shoot someone. If your legs all tangled up in between their legs and you're like, oh, I'm going to do like in all those videos and shoot them in the pelvic girdle, and your legs in between their legs, it's going to be a super bad day for you. So, like, discipline. Do you have discipline to like abide by all my firearm safety rules? Do you have discipline to understand like the difference between contact and control? Do you have the discipline to always be in good position? Because I always tell crews, hey, look, you can attack or defend from good position. When you're out of position, you can't do either. And attacking could be anything. It could be I'll have a lot of crews do stance and positioning drills. And the deal is like, positioning is your priority no matter what, whether you're grappling, wrestling, shooting. Like, I always want to shoot from a super solid platform. So, and it definitely doesn't change if you're tussling with someone. Like, there's nobody cares how good you are when you're fresh. Who are you when you're tired, broken down? So that's what matters.
We got a couple live here. Greg, what do we got on the live end?
Let's see. Eduardo said 1 up. Kevin said, hope you guys are doing well. What's up, Kevin? Roger said, wrestler Jason is an awesome coach. Loved his training experience with him at Spartak. Oh,
awesome. That's in North Carolina. That's Pat McNamara and Randy's gym.
Gotcha.
So if you ever watch like the Pat McNamara videos, like if anything that you watch that they do on a video, because you know how a lot of people do internet video stuff and it's like that's their whole workout of the day is what they do on the video. Like, no, they like get after it at Spartak.
Yeah.
Nice. Kevin said, if you're a good shooter, you hope to never need to be close enough to fight hand to hand.
All right, so
that's my plan.
Well,
yep.
Well,
you mostly
like. Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
You mostly get taken by surprise in those scenarios, I would think, right? You're at an ATM getting a withdrawal, and some dude already has something pointed at your back or something.
I'm pretty aware of my surroundings. Like, don't sneak up on me because I might pull a gun on you. I don't like people coming up behind me.
All right. So look, those are all things that you think you're like in control of, but how many times you walk through a crowd, walking through people? What about when you're sleeping? Like, you know what? The refrigerator here, the ice machine got backed up. And I was trying to get ice out of the refrigerator and a couple cubes trickled out. I paid it no mind. We go to bed.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going.
Those ice cubes start melting and you have a handful of ice cubes hit the floor, it sounds like glass just broke. So I was just going to sleep. I grab my pistol. I'm walking through the house. And then I see the ice cubes all over the kitchen floor. But all right, so who are you when you just wake up? Would you be able to tussle with someone till you can get it to a tool? There was one podcast that someone did that someone had gotten a fight. There was some guy, maybe chemical induced fight. They broke into a fighter's house. I forget whose podcast it was. I just saw it today. That a fight, like some guy, maybe 170 pounds out of his mind, but the guy's kids were in the other room. Who are you when you just wake up? So
yeah.
Hey, I didn't shoot the possum that I got up and pulled a gun on. There was a possum on my back deck, like knocking a grill over and stuff. And I thought that someone was on my back porch. And
if you would
so
have
I drew a gun on the possum, but I didn't shoot him.
If you would have had a 22 suppressed, that possum would have been done.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Jason, what classes do you offer, and how do we contact you about attending?
So I teach all over the country. I teach at Blue Force Gear. Blue Force Gear just opened a training facility out there. It's in Savannah out here. Blue Force Gear makes gear, equipment, a bunch of Gucci gear and stuff. So they have a shoot house there. So I teach how to navigate around their sling and close quarter scenarios, as well as my low vis type stuff, concealed carry, tussling integrated with shooting. Because how do you like quantify if someone's good or not at fighting? I don't know, man. You beat that guy, but that guy beat you, and you beat that guy. Well, how do you quantify if someone's good or not at shooting? You're accurate, you're fast, you can do it under pressure. So I end up mixing the courses together from fighting, integrated with shooting, live fire stuff or sim stuff. But I teach at the Range Complex, which is in North Carolina, just east of Fort Bragg. I teach for another company called Green Ops. I also teach and I have courses at Sawmill, which is in South Carolina, at Government Training Center, or Government Training Institute, sorry, in Barnwell, South Carolina. Another company, Evoc Security. So you could find me through my company, right? C2T2 Contact and Control Techniques and Tactics, or C2T2_training on Instagram. But or you can just reach out to me. I'm up for setting up courses, private lessons, or for your department, agency, crew, open enrollment courses.
I know this is probably a tall list, but what kind of famous UFC fighters have you trained over the years?
Man, being an American Top Team, shoot,
you saw a lot of them come through there.
Yeah, just tons of guys. From there to guys outside of American Top Team, because now I just travel all over the country. I do less of the guys that were doing sport stuff, more of the guys that are actually doing stuff. I find that there's, for me, more of a personal calling, working with crews to help them go home to their families, whether they're open enrollment courses, helping people have a little bit more of an advantage over their adversary or bad guy, means a lot more to me. I looked at it like this, like books have more than one chapter, because you're not meant to keep reading the same chapter over and over again. It's kind of where things have evolved to. Just kind of how I can push a good message, integrate multiple skill sets, high-level fighting principles, concepts, formulas that have already worked for a lot of the best fighters in the world, that now can be translated to people in a short period of time. So it's kind of unlocked the formula.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to you about Amanda Nunes because she's on top of the world right now as far as UFC stuff, and she's local. I know she's part
Look,
of American
South
Top
Florida
Team.
is huge.
Yeah.
And the amount of success, like a lot of my buddies now that are all still coaches over there, like they're just constantly making monsters. And, like attracts like, anytime you produce a few, like anyone that has any school, the biggest thing is not to have a bazillion students. It's to make a couple champions, show that you can make champions and people will come. And shoot, like I said, American Top Team started at one spot, then it was another spot, then it moved to a place down the road, and now it is where it is now. And if you've ever been there or passed by there, it is amazing. Like the everything offered to the guys from in-house living and the coaching staff and the facilities that those guys have over there now, it's far from where it was.
Yeah. My nephew trains at one of the ones right there on University. I told you about that. So I mean, that's a small gym. That's a tiny small. So it's on University in where is it? University in Sterling. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Baga's gym. Baga is old school. All right, remember I told you the guys training on the jigsaw mats?
Yeah.
Baga was that time. There's old school guys and there's old school guys. Baga was one of the original old school guys. Yeah, good instructor, good dude.
Yeah, their gyms are all over the place.
For a little bit now.
Yeah, he's been at it for a little bit. He enjoys it. I mean, I need to jump in there with him. Maybe he'll show me something, but I just think I can I kind of overpower him here. But I know shit. I don't know nothing. I know what I'm watching him do, and those instructors are showing him, and I never even got on the mat.
Better watch out, man. Like
better watch out.
Gotta be men. So
dude, that's good. If he can choke me out, I would love that. You know what I mean?
I wish I had more time to do it because I did a month with a guy here of classes, and it was so fun of jiu-jitsu, and I'm much better on the ground. If I can get you on the ground, I'm a lot better. The only time I was going up against big guys, like I was the only girl in there. But the only time I could ever get any of them to tap out is if I could worm my legs up and get my legs around their neck, I could choke them out and they'd tap.
Yeah.
It's the only way I could do it.
No, I can attest to the fact that you could freaking punch.
I can punch.
Yeah. That was.
Here's the thing. Like, look, if you don't want to punch people, but you don't regularly punch things, like, once you break your hand, you go from I'm so mad and angry to I'm so hurt in 0.001 seconds. You go from having a normal hand that you can shoot with, open lock, start a car, pick your nose, to a hand that is just a giant marshmallow hand. So if you don't hit things regularly, I wouldn't go hitting people. And also, you could be great at grappling on the ground, but if someone puts you on the ground outside of the mat, like you also might learn the law of unforgiving surfaces really fast.
I learned that in my first 3-gun match.
Oh yeah. What happened?
So I came into competitive shooting from paintball.
Mm-hmm.
And paintball was like my life from the time I was 8 until I was 25 when I moved down here, and paintball was dead down here. And long story short, got roped into shooting. Actually, no, it was a carbine match, something like that. And, in paintball, a big thing is you got to get behind cover really fast. So, we typically do baseball slides, Superman dives, stuff like that. And you're wearing padded pants with knee pads and arm pads underneath and whatever. And there was a stage where you had targets at the back of the bay, then there was like a 50-yard sprint, and you had to shoot underneath the barrier at probably 15 targets that were out maybe 25 yards. So me being me, full-on sprint in like khakis and a t-shirt, and Superman dived onto the dirt ground. Hurt like a mo, but I did end up winning that stage like by a long shot with that whole sprint and Superman dive.
Did the style points help you out, or?
Yes, definitely.
No, it was ugly.
No, it was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think as Greg is the most graceful dude with movements, but I don't know.
I got a lot of cushion though.
There you go. I mean, I've crashed. I usually do silly shit like that when it came to shooting from prone and shit like that. It's like, but the more I did it, and I guess the older I got, the more it hurt. So I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna do it a little bit more. I don't know, tactically sound and just not just throw myself on the floor like I'm doing a baseball slide. And I remember I crashed on the floor one time. George Mackey was the SO of this match, was a local good dude. And it knocked my gun out of battery. My Glock, I crashed on the floor. My Glock was out of battery when I looked up because I hit the ground so hard. And I'm clearing a malfunction and yada yada. It was a bad time. It's pretty much that malfunction took away the time of me baseball sliding into position, so it didn't end up panning out. So I'm not always but it would have been good for the gram, I guess.
I just fall going up the stairs at a precision rifle match and almost break my rifle, but you know.
Yeah. All right, so we got some giveaway stuff. We had Todd Lewis on last week, and his sponsors and him was able to coordinate a lot of a couple giveaways. We did like 5 US Palm AK mags, and then we did the Crimson Trace red dot optic. Okay, we had 2 separate giveaways. Greg's got the winners, and then we have a new giveaway announcement for this show.
All right, so my sponsor, Vega Holsters, actually has pistol and rifle pouches from their tax line. So it's 1 pistol or 2 rifle. So they're each as individual giveaways. So this is them. SIG X5 mag. So they're holding things in pretty solid. I teach fighting integrated with shooting, tussling, battling for position with this belt on and these pouches, running, jumping over stuff. My stuff doesn't end up on the floor. It stays in the pouches, which is pretty important, especially doing matches.
Boom. So we're gonna give away those here, courtesy of Vega Holsters and Jason Kelly. We're gonna figure out. I know these giveaways are kind of on the fly, so we usually post some type of giveaway after the live show was over. So stay tuned for that. Greg, what do you have as far as the winners?
Yep. So I'll figure out how we're gonna do those in the morning. Keep an eye on TSM. I'm unemployed for the week, so I'll be sitting here at the computer and I'll come up with something. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So we had 2 giveaways. The first one is for the mags. And what we asked for is your best AK picture. So we had a couple submissions, but we decided Jeremy here with his like super modern tactical looking.
Hey, that's not an AK, but technically it is. Well, it's a Galil. Well, it's in the AK family, so we'll give it to him.
Yeah, we'll give it to him. That's a cool picture. It's got the M-lock handguard and the
I don't know. And to me
to
me that's Gucci, and I like Gucci stuff. Like everybody kind of has an AK. Right?
Like I feel like this needs a little bit of gold on it. Not like a lot, but like if that trigger was gold, that would make that gun. So, Jeremy, gold trigger man. But you are the winner of that. And then for our second giveaway, we got this really awesome Crimson Trace CTS 1000. There's a couple rifles in my safe that this will look awesome on, but I don't think I'm allowed to enter this.
No,
I don't think so. That's the part that sucks about being
on
the show.
No, that is poor form.
I know.
I won't let you.
Thanks, Mom. So anyway, with all this, we had a lot of funny stories. The way to win this was to give your funniest COVID story or quarantine story or whatever. So Mike Bell's story, basically he was late turning into the Shooter's Mindset show last week, and some 3-gun shooting AK dude named Todd was talking about stuff, and he's trying to think of a question to ask. And the first AK related question he thought of was to ask about PSA's new AK V9. And the funny part is that this Todd guy is sponsored by Century Arms. So he didn't really care very much for it. We're all like,
direct competition.
Yeah, you know. So Mike Bell, congrats on winning this awesome optic.
Congrats on putting your foot in your mouth, and so you won something.
Yep.
There you go. Boom. So there's the winners of that one here. We're going to give away the Vega holsters and pouches here. We're going to figure that out tonight or tomorrow morning. Tune into the Shooter's Mindset there. Discount corner here. We usually do this here. We usually sometimes forget about it. But Jen usually starts us off. What do you have?
You can get 10% off at carbonarms.us on shotgun shell caddies, tube extensions, all the 3-gun needs you have using the code TSM10. You also can get 10% off of a jersey or a hoodie or any of those things with Under Industries, great veteran-owned company. So check them out, and you can get 10% off if you message them on Facebook and mention the Shooter's Mindset.
Boom, Greg, what do you got?
I have the code Mindset10 in all caps. It'll save you 10% off all Phone Scope products. It's a really great training aid for long range shooting. You could look really awesome for the gram. I know there's a lot of places right now with everybody being in quarantine where people are posting all sorts of, training videos, practice videos. I know someone posted a competition not long ago, earlier today, where they were filming with some Phone Scope stuff. So it's a pretty cool thing. If you haven't checked it out, you should.
There you go. I got a couple here. UM Tactical, umtactical.com, local company here in Florida, doing a lot of AR pouches, a lot of Kydex holsters, stuff like that. They also have your full line of AR-15 parts and accessories. TSM10 save you 10% off. umtactical.com. Also, Taran Tactical Innovations, TaranTacticalInnovations.com. TSM10 for the Gucci base pads and accessories over there at TTI. Jason, any on the fly discount codes that you know of? I know we didn't really discuss
JK15 for Vega. JK15 for 15% off.
Vega holsters there. You can check out their website. Also, they're in the 511 Tactical stores. I don't know if that'll work in the stores, but you can go by there and check out some of their stuff.
But yeah, they're at the I know they're in the Dade and the Broward stores.
Yeah, they're right behind. I think the whole that Vega is behind Tactical Life, where I work on the weekend.
Yeah,
so I haven't got a chance to step
like
up.
literally in the same, I think, one row behind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because there's Boresight Solutions, Vega holsters, and then there's Tactical Life. So there's some.
I didn't know that's where Boresight Solutions was.
Yeah, Boresight Solutions is right the bay right behind us. So some big name. I mean, talk about Gucci stippling. I mean, that dude's been like the godfather of doing it.
Yeah.
So there you go. What else we got here? So deploying your self-defense tool. I mean, not everybody carries a firearm. It could be pepper spray, simple pepper spray. It could be a pistol. It could be maybe you're a knife guy and you have a couple knives on you, or one or two. When attacker is already within arm's length, deploying your self-defense tool, I think that's kind of an important thing to know.
I also teach knife stuff. But if you want to learn how to do like all this stuff, go to the guy that does like all that stuff. There's a lot of like great guys that do that. But for you to have really good results in a short period of time, I think it's pretty tough. Like if you go to like the motherland of this stuff and spend like 5 years there and like do it all day long every day, you will be that guy. But I get a lot of crews that come to me and they're like, hey, look, we might be doing some sneaky stuff in some other part of the world, or hey man, look, I don't carry a gun, but I carry a knife in my pocket everywhere. And it's like, well, heck, how do you get to it? How do you get to the tools that you carry? So I teach guys how to use the things that I do, how to get to understand your own stance position, how to control someone, how to be able to control a side and dictate action while understanding how to take space away from someone. Because no matter how tight you grab someone, like elimination of space actually causes a position to be tight. So how to take the space away to make a position tight, how to have a clear, unobstructed draw stroke to get to a tool that you're carrying. So, well, heck, a lot of guys will carry a pistol on one side and a knife on the same side because they have better hand dexterity with that side. But if you're fighting over one, you're fighting over both. And I get a lot of guys like, hey, look, that's a great idea. I'm going to take my knife that's on this side, put it on this side. But then it's your like freaking goofy hand where like clown music starts playing at the same time when you try to open it up. So, so the whole thing is like, how can you understand again the fighting stuff to get to the tools that you carry? And everyone thinks, oh well, I would just break contact and do this. I would just break contact. Well, heck, if you're not good at if you don't understand like how to number one, be in a good position yourself, how to number two, control someone, take away their ability to attack or defend, then understand how to break their position to create movement, to keep my adversary in a constant state of reorientation, adapting what I'm making them do, to then create space, step offline, or while still controlling them. Like, if you don't get all that stuff, like, you might as well just keep your knife in your damn pocket, because it could probably be used against you. Like, practice with the tools that you have and being able to get to them. Like, I'll teach a lot of law enforcement crews. A lot of times they'll have me come in and work with all the academy kids, and they have a whole belt, bat belt full of stuff: taser, baton, pistol, this, that, the other. Like, what I'll do is I'll teach 3 or 4 different ways to get to the same darn thing. And I'll call them out in numbers, like a cognitive drill. Close the distance, take however position I tell you to do it, break their position, create movement, create separation, laterally move offline while getting to your tool, having a clear unobstructed draw stroke, breaking the retention of whatever tool you're going to, and then be able to get to it before the other person comes back to you. So what happens is everyone has faith in the tools, but doesn't build the skill set to have the proficiency to be able to deploy the tools against a bad guy, like a guy that doesn't have your best interests at heart. It's like, I'm not trying to teach people how to do things that'll work on a housewife while she's checking her tweets while pumping gas and drinking her latte at the same time. Like, I'm going to show you how to do things against the worst possible dude to have that unfair tactical advantage on your bad guy. Like, hey, because that'll work for everyone down. Stupid stuff doesn't work its way up. So yeah, being able to get the tools, whether it's a knife or non-lethal versus lethal tools. So yeah.
Yeah, I always put a lot of thought into that, because I mean, I don't, and I know I passed up on one of your classes, which we need to get it done again. It was right there in front of my eyes. I just couldn't make it because it was after work. I had to go home, but that I need to do.
By the way, let me just put this out here. Out of all the times that we hung out in Pembroke, just BSing,
yeah,
you ask me for little nuggets of information, because all right, look, I'll tell you now, I don't know how to hold this stuff back. Like, a teacher teaches, whether I'm on the books or off the books, whether I'm getting paid $1 million or $0, I'm the same dude. So I'm always like I stay sharp by practicing my craft. Like, even like right now, like, I'm still like building crews up, helping dudes, supporting people, because I don't know how to be some other dude. And the thing is if you only do things when the meter's running, like, you're not the best, deliverer of your craft, because you're only doing it when it counts, not like all the damn time. Because there's a lot of lessons that I learned while going over something in a store, at a gun shop, that you could have been asking me, like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Like, you could pick my brain any one of the times. Like, I've taught more stuff to dudes in a darn parking lot.
yeah, I know. It's like that. I'm trying to go home and we're talking shit, and we talk shit in the store, and then we're talking shit while I'm trying to get in my car. Mm-hmm. It's like it's constant. We're constantly having a conversation. I carry a knife. It's an Emerson, right? So I'm on my offhand side, and then a pistol on my right hand side, just because I had. Yeah, so it has that wave technique, but the thing about the Emerson is, when it comes out, you have a shit grip on it. At least, I mean, I'm not Emerson. I'm sure there's a way to do it, and I'm sure there's a way he shows people, but I can at least deploy it quick. One thing, getting a grip when someone's on top of you or someone's trying to be on top of you is a whole nother fucking story.
All right, well, here's the thing. Like, when I teach people how to defeat another human being. How do you defeat an adversary? Like, you have to understand, like, tactics. And it's funny because I was today, like, you know how it is, like, no one's teaching right now. So every instructor buddy that I know is going through his like computers and phones looking for material to freaking post. And I'm going through old videos and I'm like, holy crap. The things that I'm teaching are tactics that are being used against us on the damn media. And it's like solid tactics are tactics, how to defeat another human being. And it's like, well, what do I want to do? Do you want a fresh bad guy or you want a broken down bad guy?
Yeah.
You want a broken down bad guy, right? Well, how do
Absolutely.
you use a tool to speed up the process to do that, right? So it's like,
I'd
how do
kind of assume a dead bad guy
a dead back? Well, how do you do that? Well,
because
just
then
think,
they're not doing anything to me.
just think you get your knife out and everyone thinks like you just poke someone and they like explode. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, if you understand like good anatomy and physiology, it's like, how can I take function away from things to have like the power meters go like flip flopped?
See,
Because you don't want like an even Steven match. Like
no.
it's I want to have again like every unfair advantage possible. There was one friend of mine, right? Her name was Kathy. Kathy is in South Florida. She's like big time lawyer. Hopefully she'll listen to this and get a little kick out of it. So she lived in this fancy 3-story house, fancy Porsche. And I'm like, hey, Kathy, what kind of cases do you take? You know, you're pretty successful. What do you think she said?
Okay.
The ones I know I'm going to win. Right. And it's like, holy crap, she gets it. She has that like warrior mindset in a different discipline. But it's like, that's what you want. You want to have every unfair advantage. You don't want to be like, I might win, I might lose, 50-50. Like, I want to be 100-0, especially like in a combative sense. Right. So if you could use that tool to take away function to break down your adversary, right? So like, hey, even today I was going against a buddy. I won't say where because everybody's like, oh my God, you're not social distancing. But anyways, like we went 20 minutes straight. And this dude is tough. And the thing was right off the bat, I'm breaking a side down, taking away function, exploiting it, breaking it down. So later on, because look, if you can't wrap someone up right away, if you didn't invest the time to break things down, like, heck, what if you get tired before your bad guy gets tired? So, shoot, a lot of really cool thinking stuff. And unfortunately, like a lot of guys that are teaching like this type of stuff are only teaching like moves to people. They're not teaching people how to be really successful. Like I like even now, like I try to teach people less stuff but have a higher level of proficiency with less stuff. And like I always get this from my buddy, but I always thought this before, but he put it in better terms. And he's like, hey, look, Jason, we would do like dignitary protection courses. He's like old dinosaur with all that State Department stuff. He's like, Jason, he's like, look, I'm shooters that could think and thinkers that could shoot. I was like, damn, I'm fighters that can think, thinkers that can fight. There's more value in understanding how to be a better thinker. And especially with what I do now, whether it's open enrollment courses, law enforcement, military, crews, like someone might have to use something I taught later that day. And like, I never know if it's the girl in the back that's not paying attention, or it's never the super fit, super attentive person that's in the front. It's always someone else. And that's where my biggest testimonies come from. So I always try to put again my best foot forward. It might be some dude in a gun shop that doesn't ask me questions, you know.
Yeah, there you go. We got some here live ones here. We got a couple, 3 live good ones here. What do we got? Who wants to hit them? Jen, Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
Hold on, I totally just lost live feed. I have no idea where it went.
How'd you lose a live feed?
I don't know. I clicked to the tab that was. Oh, there it is. Come on.
I was like, hopefully the broadcast is still up. I'm like,
Oh, it's still here, but my.
Here live ones.
Oh, there we go. I got it back, as you can hear. All right. Sorry, it was gone. Let's see. Wayne wants to know, Jason, do you get up to Seattle and the Bellington area much to teach?
I don't know where Bellington is, but I was recently out there with a buddy for EVOC security, and anyways, I'll go out there and teach at Bangor Kitsap, which is naval base, as well as JBLM cruise. So that's Joint Base Fort Lewis McChord.
Awesome. Mike wants to know if you guys have a
everything's like on hold, put off, standby now. But yeah, I am planning to go to that area.
Awesome.
Have them they can message me.
Yeah. So if someone's, that's kind of goes into the next question. If someone's looking for training, or wants to get with you, should they just message you on Facebook? Do you have a website? Do you have a
I am low tech. That's actually one of my apocalypse projects is working on my website. I'm a knuckle dragging heathen that needs to be more high tech.
Yeah, so I would just hit him up on his training Facebook page or on his personal Facebook page in a message. Right now, I did Google. You can find some of his stuff if you just Google his company name, which is right behind him.
Yep. Yeah, or you can do it on Instagram as C2T2_training or contact and control techniques and tactics on Facebook.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Mike wants to know if the OODA loop mindset figured into your training tactics when teaching.
The OODA loop, of course. Like, what's the best way to win a fight? What's the best way to win a fight?
Knock them out in one punch.
Shoot them with this from 1,500 yards away before they get close enough.
Man, the best way to, I learned this in karate a long time ago. I was a little karate kid because, you know, I'm 45 now. So that's what there was. There was big knuckles and karate, ninjas, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. So I learned this a while ago. The best way to win a fight is not getting a fight at all. I remember my friend Sean with Vigilance. So his whole company now is called Vigilance. I remember he was telling me, he's like, hey, Jason, he's like, you know, I'm going to come up with this, you know, this company, it's called Vigilance. And he started telling, he's like, you know, it's the mindset behind things. I was like, damn, that's freaking good. Like, the best way to win a fight is to have, again, what? That unfair tactical advantage in everything, time, space, distance. So that OODA loop, like being able to, you know, get a little switched on to identify problems before they become problems. That's the stuff that buys you time. So yeah, OODA loop, 100%. Observe, orient, decide, and act.
Boom. There we go. Any more live ones? That was a good one there. I like that one.
That's
Good.
Mike always has good questions.
Got one more. Let me read it real quick. Question for knife fighting, sparring.
They have shock knives and such.
There
Have
we
you
go.
noticed a group that has had success with non-lethal firearms like paintball, airsoft, etc., and force on force and CQB sparring and grappling? And that question is actually from my friend that taught me the jiu-jitsu for the month that I had a good time.
So, all right, what I find, all right, like at a certain point when I started working with all the fighters, everyone was already good at something. So then it's like teaching dudes who already had understood a formula of success to be good at stuff, right? So you got a guy who's like a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, then you're teaching him wrestling and striking. Or you got a guy who's a world-class striker, then you're teaching him others. He already has a success formula. So it's like you already have someone that's good at shooting or someone that's already good at fighting or this and that. It's easier to teach other disciplines. But when someone's not good at any of them and then you just try to slap them all together in like a weekend course, I find that it's tough to build a level of proficiency where you really get it. I get a lot of guys, especially with the knife stuff. Like I said, I would have crews that before, say for a pre-deployment, they're like, hey, we want to do knife stuff. Where we're at, we're not going to have guns, but if something goes down, like, what are we going to do? Do we like grab like knives from restaurants and gas stations? Like, how do we like acquire tools that we could use? And a knife's a lot quieter than a gun in some situations. So, all right. So now me and my buddy Cole Miller, and Cole's in Macon, and him and I had this idea when I was coming out there, and I was like, man, you know what? Everybody wants to do all this knife stuff, but they're not good at the fighting stuff. And then a lot of guys think that knife stuff is like you're dueling. I have a knife, you have a knife. We're doing this knife dance. You know, you look at like guys going in and out of gas stations. You could just sit in front of like in your car at a gas station and count how many shiny clips are sticking out of someone's pocket. So, well, can they use it or will they use it against you, right? So most people aren't good at hand fighting, pummeling, battling for position. So me and my buddy Cole Miller, Cole has his American Top Team in Warner Robins. And anyways, what we did was, all right, so it was first time putting out on the internet. I was going to have it in a video as like a top secret training, but I'll kind of spill it out here. We just taped a training knife to each other's hands, right? Now, the trick is, instead of like playing the I'm poking you, you're poking me game, forget that you have a damn knife in your hand and battle for position and have position as your priority, and then figure out how your body works and where things go. Because what happened is we did it one time and we're like, holy crap, that was freaking crazy. That would look like the most gangster training ever. And then we're like, hey, let's do it again, but let's videotape it, because we didn't video it the first time. And then it turned a little bit more into the, I don't want to get poked. You're poking me, I'm poking you. So if you understand how to have a level of proficiency without stuff, you could then add the stuff. But if you right away are just trying to add stuff and you don't have a foundation, it's just like building a house on beach sand. It's just kind of silly. Like I get to watch everyone's weekend courses on, because I have, thousands of friends on Facebook and Instagram. So every weekend I just see a lot of like weird, silly trainings. And like, I don't judge trainings by instructors. I judge them by how their students look.
So, any upcoming classes or training or matches? I know it's kind of a weird time for this stuff. But what's upcoming?
Right now. So yeah, unfortunately, I am on hold. I don't want to set things up and have them, have to, cancel things. Building other people's hopes up, building my hopes up. Hopefully everything in the world, settles down, people get healthy, whatever purpose all these events that are going down ended up clearing up and good prevails. So everything is on hold, but my spots are from, I teach everywhere from Florida, right? So I also teach at the 511 stores at Broward and at the Miami one, as well as the Broward store. So I'll also do courses at Blue Forest Gear. I'll teach at a bunch of different fight schools around all the bases that I teach at. Sawmill, GTI, the Range Complex, Green Ops up in Virginia. Man, had a great crew up there. It's funny, a lot of those guys were even messaging me today because they were trying to take away all their gun rights in Virginia recently. Imagine they took all your gun rights away and then now all this stuff went down. So, I mean, how crazy is that? Like, now what? Like, everyone's afraid of this, including law enforcement. So imagine taking away your ability to defend yourself. Like, how many people live week to week? So not only week to week, month to month, week to week. Imagine if this goes on a couple weeks longer. Like, people are going to start getting desperate. It's like, all right, grocery stores still have food, but people don't have money.
Yeah.
I do think it could get ugly.
So yeah, that's the scary part is, like, I think most people week to week usually can, or paycheck to paycheck, can make it for that 30 days, right? And then once you start getting past that 30 days, and now it's like, it's not even fun to go out anymore. Like, now you got to stay 6 feet apart. If you're not wearing a mask and gloves, you're like an evil person. It's like everybody's looking at you funny. Everybody thinks you're sick. I mean, you have to stand outside of a supermarket before you can get in. It's like, it's not cool to even be out. It's not fun to be outside anymore. And people losing their jobs, having problems getting unemployment and all. Even not that long, unemployment pays a lot of money. It doesn't at all. So this is when, if it goes on more than a month from now, I think it starts to get scary. And I've been thinking about a lot of gear and stuff like that. Just if shit really starts
like
to,
not every temporary problem needs a permanent solution. So it's up to people who have skills, abilities, tools to definitely be the responsible ones. And that goes for whether you're close quarters fighting. You might just be fighting someone's having a bad day, but the second they find out that you have a weapon on you, like, man, are you ready for that? Are you ready for, that positive, that possible end result. So again, that great power comes great responsibility. Whether you're just driving around, you have a rifle or pistols in your car or pistols on you. Like, does it have to end up that way? So definitely the gift of gab helps out in a lot of these situations, because everybody's going to be going through some hard times. People are going to have shorter fuses. They're going to be hungry. Like what about those like Roseanne bar commercials? Like you just need a damn Snickers.
So what do you think? What's your opinion on women and training? Should women train like this? Do you think that we would stand a chance if a big guy came up to me? What's your take on that? And how do you train women? Do you train women differently than men?
I do. I have to teach all different types of people differently, because one of the things I teach is not all moves work for all people, right? Not all moves work for all people. Not all moves work against all people. And not all moves work all the time, whether it's a female, male, skinny dude, big dude, short, tall. Like, we're all built differently, have different capabilities, older, individuals. So the deal is you need to still be victorious. Well, what's victory to you? Is it like, oh, I defeated my bad guy? Or is it, it's funny because the further away we go, you're in someone's striking range, you're in their projectile range. I broke free. Now I turned my back and I started running, but they were faster than me. Now what? So it might be like more advantageous for you to control someone to be out of striking range where it's weird, where you're maybe super close to them, able to get to your stuff. But hey, I'm on like the third row of Publix. So like I'm on the third room on the black side of the building. Help. So sometimes being able to get other people to help you out is a victory. Like, have that force multiplier. So winning isn't always beating someone up or killing them or whatever. So so anyways, I teach all different crews. I teach, a lot of times, like I joke around, like I always joke around because I usually have to make people do really difficult things. So I try to be funny about it, because you can't be a jerk. You can't be like Hitler and then make people do Hitler stuff. They don't like it and they don't come back. So I try to be pretty funny about stuff. So, it's, I have to try to be funny about stuff. So, but yeah, doing difficult things, it's tough.
Do you put on the all ladies class, like ladies, all ladies stuff?
Courses, I'll have women for crews. So like I was saying about being funny, like a lot of times I'll say that I turn nerds into ninjas. Sometimes I might have a crew for a pre-deployment course for like a week, and I have crews that are straight up ninjas, but what they're ninjas at isn't fighting or shooting. So so I have an ability to kind of get a message across to help people get it a little bit faster. It's a little frustrating at first because I'm teaching people something that they're not used to, that they've never done before, that it's funny. I've seen people have epiphanies third day into a 5-day course. That's like, oh, I get it now. I'm a big believer in a lot of reps, a lot of trial by fire and getting after it and positional stuff. I'm real big on keeping crews healthy. So I want them to have positive, hard, difficult work, but I also make sure that crews don't get injured. Because you never know, one day might be your last day of something. Like right now, with all this time off that people are having, they might have been about CrossFit or fighting or shooting or whatever. And all this time off, they lose their identity. They might never do something again. So I also have to be pretty inspiring when I teach, because there's no such thing as a 1 week ninja, or you have a course where you see me, for pre-deployment work for 2-week block or an 8-hour block. There's no 8-hour ninja. There's no 2-week ninja. So hopefully I try to be super inspiring, that people can be able to want to do it after they see me. So I'll have females, I'll have tons of different females in all different roles. So I also get that a lot of things I teach guys are a little different than females. It took me a while to figure this out. I had one fighter, not fighter, but she was a wrestler and jiu-jitsu world champion that I worked with. And she was awesome. She was like sister, like love this girl, like 100%. Like she was family. This girl, Juliana Borges. Like I would pick her up in the morning, drop her off at night. We'd train all day, every day. She was Abu Dhabi champion, which is the world championships of grappling. She was wrestling champion. Just awesome. And the thing was, we ended up going to the world championships in Budapest. And we're coaching in 2005. I'm coaching, but I'm also getting to work with all the women wrestlers for Brazil. And I had them in 2005 in Budapest and 2006 in Rio. And the funny thing was, is I was teaching them moves that worked with guys. And a lot of the girls were looking at me. They're like, why are you doing this? Like, all right, see how my arm is? My shoulder doesn't go anymore that way. Like a girl will take her whole arm and put it like behind their head, like going that way. And like, what are you doing? Like, I don't feel that. And I was like, damn, like, again, like, I was like, holy crap, like, things aren't going to work for females. You have to understand that we're all built differently. They have their different strengths as well as weaknesses. So you have to be able to identify them. Like, again, that's really, like, that started helping develop. Not all moves work for all people. Not all moves work against all people. Not all moves work all the time. So yeah, I've gotten to work with a lot of female fighters, grapplers, wrestlers. And that's been awesome. Like getting to be in the positions I had. Like I said, I would teach at 4 or 5 different schools, have people come to my building and shoot high school practices. Like I got to work with so many people and body types. Even now, like when I'm busy, there's weeks where I see like 100 different people every week. So like my database is I'm constantly recording and tracking. Like I'm like straight up Family Feud. Like I know what people want to do before they do it. So, yep.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think
man.
it needs shooting and
Gucci
fighting.
gear,
All of it has to be a little bit different for females, just because body type's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Jen was one of my biggest coaches getting into the shooting sports.
Mm-hmm.
And watching her shoot, she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot this by doing a split and then use my boobs to hold myself up to support myself shooting prone underneath this barricade. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sit down.
No boobs.
There you go.
Or splits.
Some of the Gucci gear talk. I know I've been talking to you a lot back and forth about plate carriers. That's something you actually throw on just to think. I had like a Blue Force gear plate carrier rig that you gave me. I'm like, dude, this is pretty lightweight. You know, I don't understand. Like, even though I work in a gun shop, but we don't talk about body armor. You know what I mean? I have no idea on this stuff. Yeah, I have no idea on this plate rig and this helmet, night vision. Like this is not a realm that I'm familiar with. So what's the importance of actually training with that stuff, Jason?
Dude, I had a federal agency that I was working with. They were like, hey, Jason, look, you have to train us with a plate carrier on. And this was years and years ago. And I was like, damn, I don't have a plate carrier. So I go to the gun show. And it was like, training was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And I go to the gun show and I get this giant plate carrier. I'm like, shoot, I need pouches. So I put all these pouches on. And I'm like, man, I don't have plates. I got to get these plates. So I got these like crazy steel, like AR-500 type plates. And the only thing I use these plates for now is to do damn pull-ups. And so my gear and kit evolution has been like just ridiculous over the years. I have more bins of stuff that I'll never use again than I have now. Like now, this was the Blue Force gear carrier, and the plates that I have in it are from Shot Stop. And these plates, I had these other polyethylene plates, multi-hit polyethylene plates at 3+, they call it, and in my other carrier. This is the one that you saw online. You asked me about the pricing between the two. See how that doesn't have a cummerbund?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one that you originally asked me about. Hey man, what about that one? So that one has already light plates in it, but the shot stop one, like their front, back, and sides are the same as that is, just front and back, like super light. So dude, like it's funny because especially with all the stuff going on now, like how many people came to Pembroke to buy guns over the last little bit? I saw you guys
don't have any guns.
I saw you guys had boxes of MREs, bullets. Like everybody's freaking out. But
no guns though. We don't have no handguns though. That's how crazy it was. We're cleaned out almost. We get shipments coming in every day, and then they're gone before they hit the glass. It's like it's nuts. People are panic buying.
I got at least 100 phone calls about guns, gear, this, that, and it's like, dude, if you didn't already have it, like even if you get it, there's no like magic ability fairy that's going to help you understand how to like run a sling on your rifle, like how to run gear, how to set up your gear. Like if you haven't had your own like kit evolution of why you put stuff where you put it, like it's just stupid. You might as well just not even have it and just like apologize to the bad guy at your door, you know? So between kit, gear, like why you have stuff, where you have it, there's so much stuff out there. But a big thing is like you're better off buying it right the first time. You know, what do they say? Like
buy once, cry once.
What's that?
Buy once, cry once.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, you're better off getting it right the first time. So, and then, even with like belts, like Blue Force Gear has this super Gucci belt that they came out with. They came out with it at SHOT. Super pimped out. So anyways, I taught at Blue Force Gear and I taught with the belt, but because the belts aren't even in production, it wasn't like, all right, cool, here's the belt. I had to give it back after the class. It's like, no. That's how pimped out the belt was.
Yeah, boom, there
a tear came down from my eye.
That's how Gucci the belt was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, awesome. We got any more live stuff that came through, or we're good on the live?
Mike wants to know if one wants to learn defensive fighting techniques, where does one start? Would boxing, MMA, or a specialty class like you?
You know what? And where's he at?
Augusta?
He's in Augusta. Well, he's in Burke County. No, he's Waynesboro.
Burke County. Yeah, I know where Burke's at.
He's south of Augusta.
Shoot, there was a crew that I trained with at Augusta. I think it might have been like Augusta Jiu-Jitsu. I was doing one of those hurricane contracts and 12 on, 12 off during one of those disasters. And for me, in my off time, I'm like, I'll carry wrestling shoes in my bag. And there was a good crew of dudes out there. If that person messages me, I'll find out and get a contact of the school. There were a good crew of dudes out there.
Yeah, Mike, I know a good jiu-jitsu teacher in town as well. I'm trying to figure out where he works, if he's at the same place or not.
Boom, any more live, or we good to wrap this one up?
Good to wrap it up.
Boom, all right, so we'll go down to shout-outs here. Jen, you usually kick us off. What do you got?
Yep. Shout out to Prime Ammunition, Macmillan Stocks, Night Force Optics, GSL Suppressors, HD Gold, Bortec, Warren Scope Mounts, Under Industries, Shooters of Augusta and Sharpshooters of Augusta, and Phone Scope.
Boom, Greg.
I got Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local ranges. They are still open. They got every other bench taken out at the outdoor range, so you're socially distanced over 10 feet apart. PDC custom for a beautiful rifle chassis. You can get one in this beautiful lime green right here, or they also have normal person colors as well. NDZ Performance, if you want to build a real Gucci Glock, but not spend like $12,000 building a Glock. They also got all sorts of other stuff over there, so check them out sometime. Phone Scope, Shooter's World Propellant. From what I hear, still nobody's really out of it. Suppliers are running out, but they're able to ship right back out to them. Hunter's HD Gold. Ooh, so here's the Hunter's HD Gold story. I was out at the range yesterday, socially distanced, like 600 acres, 3 people out there, all real far apart. And I have this beautiful 6 GT right behind me. You know, I figure it's definitely a week to talk about gay tigers with everything going on in the world. And
Yeah.
I couldn't find a piece of brass. And it's brand spanking new brass. The first time I bought virgin brass. And I can't find this brass in the grass anywhere.
You were about to cry like a little girl, weren't you?
I was. That's freaking expensive. Then I realized that the whole day I was shooting into the sun. So I never changed my glasses when I got to the range. I was wearing my regular Oakleys, not my HD Gold. I shit you not, I walked to my truck, changed my glasses, and halfway in between the truck and the tank trap I was shooting off of, I said, oh, there's my brass. So you can see a lot more stuff with them. If you've not tried them, check them out. Bortec, breaking in a new barrel. I got a good chance to use a whole lot of my Bortec stuff this week, and it's just been so easy. Love it.
I know people wanted to see pictures of your groups. How was the 6 GT for you? Was it any noticeable difference or what?
So the reason why we went to it is to kind of try on something with a little bit less recoil to be able to watch your trace a little bit better. Definitely less recoil. It was noticeable in between that and the 6.5. I shot both yesterday a little bit. I'm still shooting a break-in load, so I'm only shooting about 2,800 feet per second. And kind of one of the big things about the 6 over the 6.5 is that the goal is to be around 3,000 feet per second. So I'm 75 rounds down the pipe now. So my next loads, I'll start kind of going up and working on a little bit of load development. You know, I just kind of found a random load online. I was like, yeah, we'll go with this and see what it does. The load I have right now is not really made for the rifle, but it shoots good. It was definitely fun. Definitely noticing it's a little bit harder to spot the splash out past 700 or 800, but it's a good shooting rifle. I love shooting the new action. I got the Curtis Custom Axiom on there.
Gucci action.
Dude, it's awesome. That 60-degree bolt throw is sweet.
Nice. There we go. Jason, any shout outs on your end, man?
Follow me, obviously. C222 training or contact and control techniques and tactics. I would for sure follow Vega Holsters. It's Vega Holsters USA. Blue Force Gear, JTF at Blue Force Gear. So it's joint training facility for Blue Force Gear, the Range Complex, Green Ops, Sawmill Training Facility, GTI. Shoot, I'm sure I'm leaving out quite a few people, but for sure, I think I covered quite a few people in the podcast. I try to always give credit to people that were, part of my life here and my story.
Nicely done here. Shout out to my end here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know you're watching on Facebook here, but we'll probably get this uploaded to YouTube. And then for those 9 Eastern, join us on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page where we do a live show every Tuesday at 9. Tandem cross for rimfire needs, do that. Definitely thanks to Jason here for spending 2 hours of his time to talk about fighting tactics and everything that he's involved with. And that'll do it for episode 291 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We'll see you on the next one.